Hello and good morning. Let's take a look here. We're moving on to 7.6. Remember, you have a test this weekend. But before I do that, there's a question on there. So write this down. Put test question, closing cost, and the rule of thumb is 2% to 8%, I think it is, 6% of the loan. So if you go to a bank and they say our closing costs are less, you have to be careful with that because their interest rates might be more. If their closing costs are more, then you would expect their interest rates to be lower. So it's kind of like a little game they play, so be careful with that. Okay? So if the loan is $100,000, let's say, the range would be 0.02 all the way up to 100,000 times 0.06. So 100,000 times 0.02 would be $2,000 up to $6,000. Okay? And closing costs or fees that you need at the time of closing. But again, be careful. If the closing costs are lower, then you would expect that the interest rates are going to be higher. Okay, so if you don't have that much money to put down, you're going to pay a higher interest rate. But at least you get the loan. Now let's take a look at these. Let me slide this up so you can get the rest of it. Copy all of this down. This is forms of ownership. Okay, so here we go. 7.6, rentals, condos, and co-ops. A condo is a form of home ownership. You own the unit. The condo members elect a board of directors which manage the property. Grass, maintenance, courts, um, workout room, swimming pool, clubhouse, all of that stuff. And also they come up with the rules that govern the property, where you can park, etc. Governing rules. An HOA is a maintenance fee. So if you buy a condo, be careful of the HOA because you're going to have your loan that you have to pay plus the HOA. And these can change the value of a property. You want this to be low. So check into that. Historically low. It is a deeded property. You get a deed just like you do with a house. A co-op is apartments, is a form, it's like an apartment, okay? You don't own the apartment, you own a share of the property. So what happens is a corporation buys all of the units and you get a share of that. This one right here is a form where you own the land and the home. This one is rare. I don't think I've ever heard of this one before. So put a star by that. You might want to go online and check that one out. All right, let's go to example one. Open up a book to page 438. If the maintenance fee for the year is 912 and 15% of that is your property tax, find the yearly property tax. Well, all you do is take 912, this is for the year, times 15%, 0.15. So 912 times 0.15. So 136.80 is for your property tax. Okay? All right, let's go to example two. If the co-op owns 50,000 shares of the entire property, and you as a co-op owner, you own 550 shares, what's the percentage? Well, you take the part divided by the whole. Write that down and memorize that. So the part is your part, and the whole thing is the co-op's part. Remember, a corporation. So you're going to have, I wouldn't buy a co-op. Okay, I'm just telling you now, don't buy a co-op, no matter how attractive it is. So this is 0.011, move it over 2 places, 1.1% of the whole property is what you own. Okay? All right, let's move on to example 3. This one is rent, okay? And the way this one works is they're going to tell you the initial rent. They're going to give you a rate increase every year, 2%, and the number of years you rent. So you have to plug this in and work it out. 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, these represent years. So let's say your rent is $800 and you have a 2% increase each year. What you do is start plugging it in. So it's going to be 800. 1 plus B is the rate increase, so that's 0.02 as a decimal. And then this is the first year. And then you got to work it out. The second year is going to be 800. 1 plus 0.02, but it's going to be year 2 minus 1. And then you got to keep working this. And you're going to see how much your rate increases or your rent increases. And remember, rent you don't own. So when you add all this up right here, it just lets you know how much money you're kind of throwing away. Ownership is the key. Today you're working 1 through 9, page 443. Let's turn our attention now to 7th period. So let's take a look. On this one right here, it says state the 3 rules for asymptotes. Well, if the coefficient, if the exponent, if the degree rather, of the top is equal to the degree of the bottom, then it's a ratio of the coefficients. Okay? The next one is if the degree at the top is smaller than the degree at the bottom, then you're going to have y equals 0. And then the third one is the degree at the top is greater than the degree at the bottom, then you have no horizontal asymptotes. Okay? And there's actually a fourth condition here, D, where you set the denominator, or the bottom, equal to 0, and that gives you your vertical asymptotes. Okay, so there's 4 there. I want to watch that video one more time. Today you're going to go ahead and finish 1 to 34. The beginning ones are definitions, so you might have to look those up or check in the back of the book. Have a good morning.